Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, or whenever uh, you're watching this live. I've had a drama for last 15, 20 minutes or so. So please bear with me. And this has never happened to me before. But hey, who said tech is easy, right? You've got to put up with it. I've got a guest today. She's an expert in storytelling and also communication. I met her. This is really strange, right? I met her at one of the district conference when she won the district conference contest, and then went all the way to US for world champion of public speaking contest. I was like, this girl is whizzed in doing this. And then I came to know that she is women in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And I thought, as I always had this excuse, I'm a techie, so I can't tell stories. You've got to put up with me giving you the formula. So when I saw her, that changed my mindset about storytelling and how I could use storytelling as well. So I wanted her. She's done so many things. She's a radio presenter. She is a teacher, and she has written three books, I think. And she's also has her own show. Like, this woman is multi-talented, and I have to get her on. I'm so proud. She's my friend. And Vinette, yeah, you come, girl, and we've at last sorted it out, hopefully.
Hopefully, can you hear me properly now?
Yeah, I can hear you properly now.
Fantastic.
Oh, hopefully Menaka will join as well and let us know whether she is able to hear us
Oh,
properly.
good.
So, Vinette, let us know, how did you end up from a teacher? You mentioned that you had an accent,
Mhm.
which is all good. Menaka, thank you, girl. So how did you? What is your journey like? What is your story? Where did it all started?
Okay. Well, I assume that you mean my journey as a professional storyteller.
Professor,
It
yes.
all started in the classroom, believe it or not. I was very good at inspiring my students and pushing them to out of their comfort zone and making sure they're excelling and achieving their full potential. And I remember distinctly, I had a class with them one Friday afternoon, and I said to them, okay, I want you to do your best. I want you to chase your dreams. The normal thing that teachers tell their students. And they had this computer program that they had to complete. It was called, I think, Fast Tomato, where they input all their likes, things they love, things they enjoy, uh, different things, different facets of their personality to determine which career would best suit them.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there supervising Sudha, and I just went on the computer myself and started fidgeting with the gadget, answering the questions, and saw what came up. In the end, it came up on my screen that I could either be an image consultant or a public speaker. And at the
Both
time,
would
I
have
thought,
suited you best.
exactly at the time, I thought, nah, not me, not speaking. And then one of the kids came up to me and said, oh, miss, yeah, I think you could be a very good public speaker. No, I couldn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, oh, miss, that's a bit hypocritical of you. You want me to chase my dreams and do what this program tells me, but you can't do it yourself. That's not right.
Oh no.
And I sat there because we had a good rapport. I sat there and I said, okay, fine. I'm going to accept the challenge. You
Yes.
study, and every time you pass a test, I'm going to improve my public speaking skills. I'm going to join Toastmasters, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we
Yes.
started on the journey together as a class, and they were motivating me because they're like, "Oh, Miss, I got 18 this, I got an A. What did you do over the weekend?" So so I kept trying to rise to the challenge, and that is how I started entering Toastmaster competitions because I would
Yeah.
come back after the weekend and say to them, "Guess what? I won, and I took the trophies in," and the kids would be overjoyed and like, "Okay, Miss, we're going it for this week." So we're actually growing together, and that was how the challenge actually started with competing in Toastmasters. And
Uh-huh.
the journey ended with me actually winning the entire UK and Ireland District 71 competition.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that is exactly how my journey got started.
So how did he end up as a communication coach from teacher? I mean, I know
Well,
communication is
I
a
just
key as a
dropped into
teacher.
that. I just dropped into that. After I won, I kept
Yeah,
helping a lot of people because, as I said last year, I decided to step out of my comfort zone and start try my hand at comedy, try my hand at impromptu speaking, just doing all the competitions that Toastmasters offered, and
yeah.
ended up winning up all four for my club and area. So I realized that
Okay.
okay, I have skills in different areas, and people kept coming to me and asking me for help. And then they came back and said, "Oh, I did really well on this presentation." Or if people were going for interview, they'd call me and said, "Vinette, how can I answer this question? How do I speak? How do I project? How do I do this
Yeah,
presentation?" And so I started helping people to help
yeah,
themselves in terms of communication. And then
mhm,
somebody says, "Oh, you need to start charging for the need to do this. I've done this." So you need to make sure you're actually showcasing what you can do. And so I
yeah,
just dropped into it. I did a few courses at the university in terms of speech writing, structuring my speech, and how to deliver content. So I did get some qualification in that. And then I started just coaching people to communicate effectively, especially in business scenarios and giving presentations.
yes. Oh, brilliant. That's a usual progression, isn't it? As a public speaker, you start out doing whatever and then learn, and people think, oh, just teach us what you've
Yes.
got, because they want the shortcut. We went the long way and they want the shortcut. And
Yeah,
then you end up
definitely.
doing it. So how did you become a radio presenter then?
Oh gosh. Well, Toastmasters has been my stomping ground for years in terms of
Yeah,
honing my craft and my skills. And I
yeah,
wanted to see whether or not that was applicable to a wider audience. So I wanted to test myself to see whether or not people would actually receive me with the same warmth and the same understanding other Toastmasters usually do. And
yeah,
the BBC had advertised that they wanted a new voice. They wanted somebody on the radio station with a nice voice who was able to tell a story. And I thought that's the best test I can get. And so I entered, and I didn't deliberately enter, I actually went to support someone else. And there was a
yeah,
space opening, and somebody said, "Yeah, go on and let's see what happens." So I went on stage and did what I do, which is telling stories. They gave me a minute to tell a story that was engaging, that would impact the audience significantly, and see the vocal variety, my tone of my voice, and everything. And I ended up winning and getting my own show on the BBC three counties.
wow, that's that's brilliant. I wish 1 minute. Did you say? Did I hear that? It's 1 minute. You've got to tell a
One
story.
minute is all you got to tell a story.
Oh my God, that's a pressure on, girl.
It
Uh,
is.
I'm just imagining, please. I not many things will make me dumbstruck, and this is the peak. Which 1 minute, I really can't. I don't know if I've got to enter this challenge. I don't know whether I would be able to do that. But yeah, I've got long way to go anyway for storytelling. So tell us. You said you had accent problem, or I don't know. Did I hear it right? But you know, I don't hear any accent or anything which, unlike a strong accent or anything, but normal. You seem to
I think
I
the
can
accent is in your head. I think the accent is in your head because you tend to hear a lot of people speaking and you tend to think, I don't speak like that. I don't sound like that. I don't pronounce my words like that.
yeah,
And no one actually said to me, I can't understand when you speak. But
yeah,
I actually told myself no one would understand when I speak. So I think it was more a mental block than people actually saying to me, I can't hear when you speak because of your accent. So I think
yeah,
once I overcame that, it was easier to communicate and speak with others.
yeah. I think you've nailed it, because I have got the same issue for so long. I didn't come on a video, or I didn't come and do a podcast or any audio program, is because I thought accent my accent people will not understand. I think it is in their head. And I've also, unlike you, there were many people were telling me you don't pronounce the V right
Mm.
and W right, and I was like, I was so on it. Oh, I can't pronounce V and W, I've got to get that, and F and P, and oh god, all of these things. And then I went for speech therapy and how to clearly get the words right and all of that. And when that happened, I was thinking, God, this is just not right. I've got to get comfortable with my own voice before I even can say to other people. That's great. So, how did you end up as an author then?
Wow. That was another. I tell you what, I tend to rise to challenges. So quite a lot of the journey that I've been on has not been planned or written down on a vision board and say that's the direction I'm going. So when I entered Toastmasters, someone said to me one evening, "Oh, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Oh, I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to inspire people with my story, and that is what I want to do." And the person said to me, "Oh, have you written any books?" And I'm like, "No." And the person said, "Well, most speakers have a book. That is how you gain credibility. Who are you? How do I know who you are if you don't
Yeah.
have a book? When I Google you, what is going to come up?" And I left thinking that I need to get a book. And so I took, I think, less than a month, Sudha, to get a book on the market. So I went home and became an author because somebody said I needed it in order to be credible. So I went home and wrote my first book.
Okay, now I need to get my book done because so that I can be look credible in the whole swing of things. So you didn't write just one book; you wrote two books. The first one
Actually,
is
I've done 4 books now.
four books. Oh my God, I missed
Books.
it. Big on. So tell me what your books are and what do they say? I think the first one is about your story, right? The first one,
But
did the right
I have,
sperm win?
right, now Did the Right Sperm Win? And it's a very jarring title, but it's a
Yeah,
memorable title because it's a background leading into the that particular story.
yeah,
That story came from a speech I did about your relevance here and why you're on earth, and you're not an accident, you're not a mistake, you're born a winner. And so,
yeah,
if you're not fulfilling your potential, you need to question yourself and ask yourself, well, did the right sperm win? Or was it better if somebody else had been born in my place? So, that was
yeah.
a key story there. That was a speech I did. And so, what I did was get 30 stories, and it was based on 30 different speeches I'd made, incorporate them into a book. And they're nice stories, very easy to read. I made them very short with a nice moral message at the end of each chapter. So I've done
Mhm,
60 stories in all now in 2 books. So I have Did the Right Sperm Win book 1 and book 2. I
mhm,
also write a lot of poetry. And so one of
mhm.
my books is the first anthology I've published. And then the
Yeah,
other one is, well, this is the basis of my radio show, and quite a lot of things that I do now is under the logo or under the mantra did behind my smile.
yeah,
So it happened at a time when I was going through quite a lot of difficulties in my personal life. And
yeah,
quite often we find that we smile through things. And if
yeah.
somebody asks you if you're okay, the tendency is just to answer, yeah, I'm fine, I'm okay, without actually unloading or tell people what you're going through. And so what I do is explore the stories that lie hidden behind people's smile, even though they appear to be okay, but certain things that they have gone through, their experiences, or what they might be going through now, just to inspire and motivate others to actually say, okay, despite what you're going through, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So,
Yeah.
Behind My Smile is actually a book which is reflecting on a year of my life when I was smiling, but behind the smile was a lot of pain. So, that is just giving that as an inspiration to others that you can come out at the other end despite what you're going through.
You would not believe this. This is spooky, right? The things they've been last few days, there are a few things which is happening to me which are really spooky.
Mhm.
One such thing is yesterday I was speaking to Menaka, who is commenting relentlessly on our talk. Uh, I was telling exactly the same, and I remember you asking me to write a book and
Mhm.
write a chapter or do a episode, or I don't
Feature on
remember
my
exactly
blog.
what it was.
Yes.
And I said yes, and I could not put the pen to the paper because it is not easy to say things when anyone asks the question. I was like, oh yeah, I'm okay. Only I know inside. I was like, how hypocritical I am. You're not okay,
Yeah.
really not okay.
But
But
the
you're
thing with your
smiling through
story,
it.
though, it can't be forced. It can't be forced. You have to be ready to share your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
And
have to
this
take it in
morning
your
I was
time.
this morning I was walking and I thought about the same thing. When Vinette asked me to write that, I was not prepared. I don't know whether I'm still prepared to write it because I am still in it. For me to feel the hurt, and it's so raw, you know.
Yeah.
You cannot share, and I don't have the perspective share. Otherwise, I'll start crying.
Yeah, one of the things we did, we do like pre-interviews as well, just before people start speaking, because quite often you're still in a healing process, and it's a process, and you have to
Yeah,
appreciate that. Speaking about your story can be therapeutic, not
yeah,
only to yourself, but to others actually listening. But you have to be in the right mindset before you can actually share your story. Otherwise, it
yeah,
might be counterproductive and push you straight back into all the hurt and pain that you have experienced before. So it has to be a timely process, and you have to know when the time is right for you to actually share that particular story. So there's never a rush to say to the world, this is what I'm going through, or this is what I've been through. It has to
yeah.
be in your time, and you have to be comfortable with your story in order for others to be comfortable listening to your story as well.
Yeah, that's you. I think you hit the nail there. And I was thinking repeatedly, and it's given me some kind of consolation when I'm speaking to you now. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay not to tell the story yet.
Yes.
But I will definitely tell the story. I'm not the person who doesn't talk
Mhm.
about it, but I do. But I am still not ready to tell the story yet. I
Good.
think, and there are other stories in me which are really comical, which you think, oh my god, how did she end up here like this? People won't believe my friends. One of my friend, I was doing the vlogs and stuff. One of my friends said, "Are you on midlife crisis? When
Mm.
you're doing all these strange things?" I was like, "I am strange," and he said, "Oh yeah, think of it. Yeah, you've always been strange, but this is stranger." I was like, okay, come
You
on.
know what?
I
We're walking books. We are walking books. And you're just making your chapter a little bit more intriguing and interesting. Because one of the things I like to look back in my life, I always say, okay, whatever I do today, my future self is actually looking now as a memory and saying, oh, that is what she did. Why did she make that decision? That is why I'm now here. So we are all living stories. You're living out your story every single day, and you can decide to make it as exciting as you want or as boring as you choose to. But you
yeah.
are a living storybook. So even if you don't see it, other people are seeing the story in you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the encouragement. I really, you're truly an inspiration and motivation to me. To be frank with, this morning I was totally upset that why can't I
Mhm.
tell the story? I do talk a lot. Why can't I tell the story? Was my question, and you've answered that. So give us yeah. Do you have a system when you go and tell people when how they should be handling their presentation? Do you go through a system of like just before you go on a radio show or just before you go and deliver that speech on one of the Toastmasters club? Do you have a process
I
or
do have a process. I think the driving force is probably the purpose or the intent for the presentation or the speech, or whether or not
yeah,
you're sharing your story. If you're giving a presentation, it all depends. Are you trying to educate your audience onto something new? Are you
yeah,
trying to inspire your audience into an action to do something else? Are you trying to entertain your audience? Now, all of these different purposes will impact how you do your presentation and how you deliver your presentation. So that is
hmm,
always the first thing, to understand exactly why you need to make this presentation. And at the end of the presentation, what response do you expect from your audience? Do you expect them to do something? Do you expect them just to be entertained? Or are you persuading them to change your mind, change direction, or change something else? So once you understand that purpose, then you start building the correct speech in order to achieve your outcome. Now, there are
yeah,
certain basic elements in everybody's toolbox that is not going to change. So you're looking at your voice, for example. Of course, you know your voice can change, the timbre of your voice need to change depending on your audience or what you're asking for. Uh, Kids are very clever in using their voices. So when my
yeah,
son comes and asks for something, it's completely different than when he comes to share a story, or if he has done something wrong, he will know how to actually modulate his voice without actually being trained, because he knows the impact it's going to have on whoever is receiving that story. Some as adults, we tend to lose it, but these are
Yeah.
little basic elements that you try to recapture in your story, how to lower your voice to get somebody to do something. You have
Yeah.
your body language, and that
Yeah.
is key because quite often your body speaks without you even opening your mouth. So quite often people think my story is coming from my mouth. Well, actually, your body can tell a whole different story.
Yeah.
So, for example, if people are presenting to, let's say, another country, I would
Yeah.
always say use subliminal messages. Get something, let's say it's a football town. Wear something of the color of the football team, because immediately that is relatable to your audience, and your audience feels a little bit warmer without actually
Yeah.
shouting that, okay, look at me, I'm wearing something that represents you. But
Yeah.
visually, you're communicating to your audience before you even open your mouth. Your story has actually begun. So it's the little
Yeah.
elements and the fine tuning that make you a great presenter as opposed to just a good presenter.
Yeah, that's you got that right as well. I've been told before, one of my speech coach said, always wear the brand color
Yes,
of
it
your
helps.
representation of like, and ask if you get any speaking gig, ask the people what who the audience is going to be,
Know
so
your
that you can
audience.
represent yourself, or you can at least learn about
Yeah.
those audience, and change a little bit, change the style maybe. I don't know. I always do that by default, because when you're in tech, you've got to somehow talk about cars and football and cricket and all of that. You've got to learn. Women in tech is not easy job, so
Mhm.
you've got to almost act like a man to speak
No,
to a
you
man.
don't. That's a perception that you have to act like a man. Sometimes that softness will bring something else. You have to be true to your own story. You just have to be
Yeah.
true to your own story, because quite often we lose our way when we try to adapt another person's story.
Oh yeah,
So
that's a
you need
totally
to be
different
human.
story I
Yeah.
have in me. That's a totally different story I have in me. Yeah, how I evolved from
Mm.
that person to a person who I am now. So, oh God, that was not easy story to tell, but I'm okay to tell that story.
Okay.
So, what would you say to people who has got this? You did say that before, who has got an accent, who doesn't like their own voice, or who thinks they cannot do certain things, especially public speaking. I'm so scared, I don't want to do it. So what would be your advice if someone comes to you and say, oh no, I just have got to get rid of this presentation, let me just do this, and I never ever want to do that presentation again? You must have heard this story again and again. What would be your suggestion? Three
I think the
suggestions.
first thing is to embrace your accent. Now, for me, with a Jamaican accent, there are certain words that I don't use in a presentation. So things like can't or didn't or don't, those contractions I don't use in my presentations, because when I speak, sometimes I go very quickly and I tend to eat those words. So I practice saying things like cannot, did
Yeah.
not. So the words are more clear, and so persons can actually listen and understand what I'm speaking. So you need to tape yourself first and hear
Yeah.
yourself coming back, and you'll get a better idea of what the person you're speaking to or who is receiving the message, what element they're missing. And pauses are very good,
Yeah.
because if someone speaks with a different accent, you want to hear clearly every word. So you need to make use of those pauses just to give them time to catch up and actually interpret what you're saying.
Mm.
Very interestingly, when I was training someone who spoke French, and I would ask a question, and there was a delay in them getting back to me, and I wanted to find out why is there such a long delay when I ask you a question. And he then explained to me, say, my native language is French. So even though I'm hearing you in English, I then have to interpret that, translate that into French first, get a good understanding of what you're asking, then frame the answer in French, then translate once again in English. So if people are
Okay.
speaking with a different accent or from a different culture, sometimes that's a process that they need to do very quickly before they can engage with you. So you need to make sure you're speaking at a steady pace. You're pausing so people have that time to actually internalize what you're saying instead of rushing through your presentation.
Yeah.
And rushing is a natural thing to do when you're very nervous. You tend to go
Yeah.
very quickly to get off the stage very, very quickly.
Yeah.
The other elements that you ask about, it comes down to confidence.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you need to do is start. That's the hardest part, is actually start. Once you start, it gets a little bit easier. You are going to make mistakes. There are
Yeah.
no perfect presentations. You can watch the
Yeah.
TV from now until evening and you can literally critique each of the speakers. So even people at the top of their game will make mistake. And once you understand that, and once you're prepared to be vulnerable sometimes and authentic, people connect with you. So sometimes
Mm.
even if you don't have the perfect structure, if you're
Yeah.
authentic and if you're relatable and if you're vulnerable, people will listen to you because they realize that you're not trying to sell them anything, you're just being you. And that is the biggest plus for anybody who's giving a presentation. Be yourself.
It looks like a little bit, I am agreeing to everything you say because I've been through the journey which you're talking about. Because number
Mhm.
one, I talk fast. I come from India, and especially when South India, the Tamil is a little bit faster. So you talk, and people stop.
Yes.
Just let me digest. And I've got so much thing to say, so I talk and
Quickly.
nonstop. People have paid me to stop talking, but they failed miserably, miserably. So I would take the money, but I would never stop talking. That's a different story. So that's another thing which you said was start. That was one thing which I didn't do. And when I realized, okay, I can never be perfect if I can't start. People think, oh, I need
True.
to get perfect and
Mm.
then start, and that's never going to happen if you're not starting. So that's what I did as well. And the second one, which you said, is the pausing, which I still have to learn a bit, which I can't. I really still can't do
Mm.
that pausing bit. So when they do these things, there are do you go on I go when I go on stage, I go like I do really funny faces, and I go internalize my own speech, and once I am on the stage, I'm okay. But 5 minutes before, people will think that, okay, she's just got turned zombie. She's I am that. I see through the people, but I don't see the people. So is there anything which people can do? They just prepare their voice so that when they go, not like theater artists or not like radio presenters usually do, or actors do. So is there anything which you do?
Personally, for me, I like to be quiet just before I go on, and that's because I'm processing things just
Yeah,
before I go on stage. But there's no one method. You have to feel comfortable, and what makes the butterflies settle down for a while is what you need to employ. I've
yeah,
seen a variety of different techniques. I've seen some people do breathing exercises. So
yeah.
people take deep breaths just before they go on stage and take that one breath and then walk out into the stop and the spotlight. I've seen people do warm up exercise. So they're singing their la 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 behind the scene and trying to warm up their vocal cords.
Mhm.
Some people are just engaging conversation before they go on. So it's a matter of trying to find out what calms you down more before
Mm.
you go on stage and just utilize that particular technique. For me, I just like to be quiet, and that's because I'm processing what I'm going to do or the very next step. Because one of the elements I teach in my presentations as well is the first words out of your mouth sometimes are the most important, and the last ones that you say are the second most important. So you need to make sure you get that right. You might
Yeah,
stumble, you might make a mistakes in your presentation, but the first two lines out of your mouth should almost be perfectly delivered, because that is what the audience is going to use to judge you. The first 30 seconds, is she worth listening to? Otherwise, they might just switch off for your entire presentation. So
yeah,
those sentences are key to most presentations.
Wow. Yeah. I I can see what you mean by that. And people, especially in Toastmasters, we say the starting. What is the hook, or
Yeah.
what's your starting point? Is either a co or a that. Oh, interesting. So what you've said more about Toastmasters and stuff. This is not a Toastmasters show in any way or form, even though I love Toastmasters in every way I could get. You got your distinguished Toastmasters, yeah?
I did.
Yeah, that was the shortest one, I think. You only been in Toastmaster for 2.5, 3 years now?
I think 3 years, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
three
done
years.
very quickly.
That's the shortest. I actually I missed it completely. 20 months ago, I should have got it, and that would have been shortest as well. It was about
Yeah,
around
but you can
3.
still get it.
Oh, I got it. I got it a
Oh,
couple of weeks
fantastic.
ago.
Well done.
I was like, I am getting this, and so
Yeah,
I got that.
fantastic.
So, what is your plan? What are you planning on doing with public speaking and your communication coach and whatnot? How many other books you've got in your head? I don't know.
Well, I tell you what, for the book writing, it has shifted a little bit because I've not put, and I usually have at least one or two books per year. And this year, what I find is quite a lot. I've been doing a lot of ghost writing. So a lot of people
What
who want to get their books to
about
market,
ghostwriting?
but might not know how to get it to market or how to get it published or how to actually structure their books. So
Uh-huh.
I've been working with a lot of clients now, helping them to get their books out to market. So that has taken a knock-on effect on my book writing, but I'm getting people published and getting their dream of having a book on the market. So that is a primary focus right now. In terms of speaking, well, I said to you earlier that I was supposed to be in Austria tomorrow. I was supposed to fly to Austria today because I had a 2-day conference delivering content on speaking. So I was doing some speak coaching in Austria. So that has been cancelled.
Uh-huh.
And all the others coming up until November have been cancelled so far. So we don't know what is happening there. So the only
Yeah.
clients I have working with now are corporate clients who are doing it's more one-to-one sessions in terms of getting them getting their presentation up to speed to deliver. But in terms of all overseas engagement, all local engagements have been cancelled. So I'm sitting in limbo, doing a lot of writing at the moment. And then
Yeah.
when it starts back or when we get out of this situation, then we'll see where it goes. So I'm focused now on just coaching individuals instead of groups and
Mhm.
doing a lot of ghostwriting for people who want to publish their books.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So, I will put Vinette's books link, which she's given me, and because of the other post, which really got somehow messed up, I had the comments there. I will put that once the interview finishes. And also, if you want to go and check out her books and see, she's those books are real good books. I don't know about the poetry, but the first one, the Right Sperm, when the part one book was really good book. And I also have not read her other two books, so don't ask me.
Shame on you, Sudha.
How bad, isn't it? Vinay, you've got to send out those books to me. Um, so those those are the details which I'll put after the interview finishes. But before I let Vinay go, I want to ask some stupid, funny questions.
Those
Hopefully,
are
it
the best
wouldn't be
ones.
very intrusive. Though I am tend to be very, very cheeky in when I ask question, but I try not to be that. So what are you doing, or what would you do if this if someone comes to you and say, Vinette, I just want to date you? What would be
Want
your
to date
answer?
me?
Yeah.
Okay, I would just ask my
Can you
husband to
come
come
out
in
for a
and
drink?
I would just ask my husband to come down and speak to the person.
I did not expect that girl from you. You were like, okay, let me just lock my husband in the room. Let's go. Would have been my answer.
If my husband is not available,
Excuse me?
What did you say? If my husband is not available, how would I answer the question?
No, no, no. Even if
Okay.
my husband is available, I will lock him in the door in a room and just let's go. Let's have fun. That's the extent I could go. I can go out for drink and after that, okay, you go your way, I go my way.
Fantastic answer.
Because he will do it anyway, because he can't take me more than 1 hour. No one can take me more than 1 hour.
1 hour and they're gone.
Because
At
I
least you
talk
got
a
a free
lot.
drink.
So the second question is, if you're in the building, I don't know whether you're in set of flats or if your house is on fire, what are the 3 things you would take and run away?
Oh my gosh. And this is not counting my children because I have 3 children. So I suppose the 3
No,
children.
the children will
Not
run
children.
anyway.
Okay. I'm taking my notebook. I write everything in a notebook. So I'm taking my
Okay.
notebook. I'm taking picture of my grandmother.
Yeah.
She's passed away and I have that very close.
Okay.
I'm taking probably my favorite top. Yeah, my favorite top, my notebook, and a picture of my grandmother.
Yeah. Your story of becoming image consultant should be your next one in the list. You've got, I
Yeah, I
really,
have
when
a
I saw
really
your
good top. I'm
bio,
not losing it.
when I saw your bio, I thought I can't read this bio because I'll be there for ages reading this bio. It looked like a book. And I was like, what do I pick from this? I thought, okay, I'm just gonna say what comes to my mouth. So the third question is, what is your favorite TV show? I was going to ask something totally out of very inappropriate and just
I can see the twinkle in your eyes.
favorite TV show.
Wow. My favorite, you know what? I hardly watch TV. So I'm gonna probably have to take. I probably watch Dragon's Den. I quite like Dragon's Den.
Okay, that's
Yes,
interesting.
I like the pitching and I like the whole idea of doing a business or inventing something, which is something I'd want to do. It's on my bucket list. So I think
Yeah,
Dragon's Den is my favorite television show right now.
reality show. Okay, okay. I'll be very careful from now on when I speak to you. I hope you're not going to pitch an idea. I always I'm there for whenever people pitch my idea, pitch their idea, because I used to coach tech startups.
Yeah.
That used to be my fun thing to do. I learned a lot doing that. But hey, thank you very much, and thanks for putting up with me with all the tech issue. And I also have got to thank Menaka for helping us and being the scapegoat of telling,
Thank you,
okay,
Monica.
that's echoing, and all of that. And at last, we got it
We
working.
did. We
And
did.
your stories are unbelievably what do I say, inspiring and influencing as well, like in a way that it makes us go and do things, which is great, and I love it. And you agreed to me. That is a very key. And people, anyone, listen to me, anyone who agrees with me are my friends forever. I am the bossiest person. Anyway, please don't ever think of disagreeing to me, okay? So if you want me to,
I'll make
want
a
me
note.
to
I'll make a note of that.
anyway, thank you very much, and I will get you off the screen, and I'll finish off. And once, then we'll have a chat.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
having
Matt.
me, Sudha.
Yeah, you're welcome, girl. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. You've listened to my shenanigans of the whole thing. Tech was not behaving properly. No, I was not behaving. I don't know who was not behaving properly, but it's always the other person who was not behaving properly. In this case, it is tech. So, if you've got any questions for Vinette, please do drop it as a comment, and she is there for you to answer. And if she's not, I will make sure that you get the answer somehow or other. And you know me. And until I see you next week is really a very good expert as well. Barry Clark, he is sales success coach. So I've seen him speak, and I'm in his group, and whatever the tips he is given was the best tip I could ever think of, especially during the period we are in at the moment as a small business owners, and how we are going to. So Barry will be there next week to give us all about what the sales process should be, and how as a service people we can approach sales. And I'm one of those people who cannot sell, or who thinks who cannot sell as well. So please do join me for the next one, and thanks for being throughout this interview. And sorry about the interview which is mishap which has happened as well. Until then, stay safe, stay home, stay active, and always stay happy. Bye for now.